The system uses reverse osmosis and ultraviolet light to clean the water.
Well, you know that water that comes down the drain, you know that water that comes down the shower, and you know that other water that comes from the toilet, all that comes here to the water reclamation plant. Even though we don't drink it, it cleans up just like drinking water.
The recycled water is then used for irrigation and for the seawater barrier, which keeps seawater from seeping into our drinking water. All that recycled usage helps us save on our precious drinking water. It may be raining now, but city leaders say it doesn't always rain in sunny California, and this plant puts us one step closer to becoming water sufficient in the future.
We'll have a reliable water supply that reduces our dependence on imported water and helps create the local water independence that we need to be a good city for the future and to be a reliable and sustainable city.
The joint effort between the city's Department of Sanitation and LA Water and Power could be a sign of the future, as more and more water collected by sanitation is recycled back into our homes. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
City leaders say more water recycling, stormwater capture, and other recapture strategies are certainly part of LA's water future. And despite the recent rains, water conservation also continues to be part of our future. As we all make efforts to conserve our precious resource, there are a few Angelenos who go above and beyond the call. Gil Reyes shows us some of their ideas from the Drop Defender Awards.
Marcus and Tamkin Collins are saving an estimated 30% on the water bill since replacing their lawn with drought-tolerant landscaping.
When we first moved in, it was all grass, and we really wanted to go for something unique and something California-friendly because grass doesn't really do well in LA. So we dug up all the grass, and we spent some time every weekend just going to Home Depot, going to local nurseries, and picking out cute succulents. We wanted to keep it cost-effective, so we went for smaller succulents and, smaller plants and bushes. And next thing you know, they all grew and they started flowering, and we're left with this. So we're very happy.
They're also winners in LA's Drop Defender Awards, an effort from the Mayor's Office and the Department of Water and Power recognizing excellence in water conservation. Winners were selected through response on social media.
Just because we've had pretty wet winter so far, it doesn't change the need to save and continue to do everything we can to reduce water use.
Peter Ford is another Drop Defender winner. He says before every hot shower, he fills a bucket with the cold water that runs before it turns warm and uses this unused shower water for his garden. It's all on his website, helpsavecalifornia.com.
On the website, it calculates it's about 2,000 gallons a year that each family can save, and that's on the low estimate. So it's a real help when everybody comes together and makes that little effort, that tiny little effort.
All very important tips. Also very important to point out that even though our DWP rates are going up, doesn't mean you'll have to pay more. In fact, you can cut your bills significantly if you make smart decisions, and who knows, your yard could end up looking better than ever. In Hyde Park, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The campaign selected one winner from each of the 15 city council districts. Well, you might have money coming back this tax season and not even know it. City leaders are pushing their Free Tax Prep LA, a free tax program for families with limited incomes. Anna Marcos takes a look.
Florida Daniels, a retired LAUSD worker, is prepared as she enters the Watts Family Source Center. She is armed with all her tax papers, ready to take advantage of the Free Tax Prep LA program, and she's hoping to get a big tax break like she got on a previous year.
That little money I got back was wonderful. It helped me so with my grandchildren. We went into Sears. Sears had a terrific sale there on the dresses.
City leaders are pushing their Free Tax Prep LA campaign, which provides free tax preparation for all Angeleno families making under $64,000 a year. There's a lot of tax credits you may not even know you had coming.
We've had several people who are homeless, working homeless individuals, and they've actually used the return to secure housing.
So what kind of cash back are we talking about? Well, if you're a family with 3 or more kids, you can expect up to $6,000 in earned income tax credit. That's EITC. Add to that another $2,000 or $3,000 in other tax credits as well.
Many of our households are working, at the $20,000, $18,000, even the $16,000 range. And so when you put $6,000 or $8,000 on top of that, you've increased the household income by more than 30%. That's major.
If we put the funds into their pockets and then they begin to spend the money into our economy, that stimulates our economy.
For more information on getting free tax preparation, visit www.freetaxprepla.com. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
And a disclaimer, not everyone will qualify for the full amount of tax credits. Well, are you looking for a job? Well, good news, the city of LA is hiring. So are California's most cutting-edge companies. Employers recently gathered in downtown on the lookout for top talent. Gil Reyes has more.
The line to enter snaked around nearly 3 city blocks. Thousands of techies looking for work.
I'll be graduating this May, so I want to start searching for jobs.
I can work both ends. I can be an operational person or I can be a developer person, whatever anybody wants.
We are at the Wreath in downtown Los Angeles for what's being billed as the largest job fair in Southern California. More than 10,000 job seekers looking for work with over 250 tech firms. Welcome to Tech Fair LA.
Big companies like YouTube, Snapchat, SpaceX, and Tesla. They're all here, and job seekers can speak directly with company executives. The event is free. Jason Nazar of the firm called Comparably hosts the event with the mayor's office.
You've got a lot of amazing companies that are actively hiring, and they're looking for great talent. And you have all these amazing Los Angelinos with a diverse set of skills. And it's our job and responsibility to connect those great candidates to those companies.
The city of Los Angeles is also hiring.
We're looking for engineers, we're looking for IT people, we're looking for management.
The city's information technology agency oversees video services for the city. At the booth they've set up, they're using virtual reality goggles to offer tours of the workplace. Just strap them on.
This is our VR. We have videos of, say, the observation deck at City Hall. We also have our New Year's Eve. We did the New Year's Eve event at City Hall. It's all in VR, so you can experience it. We're going to try to do that. We're also going to try to do some live streaming of those events, also in VR.
Virtual reality. It could be part of the job if you end up working for ITA. Outside that, the entire city family is looking to fill positions, as nearly half of its workforce will be eligible for retirement next year. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Information Technology Agency is also the agency that oversees Channel 35 and this newscast. Well, LA's brightest and finest science students from around the city are putting their brains to the test as they prepare for a science and technology-geared competition. Rasha Goel has more.
Interrupt, be Captain 0. That is correct.
These are the future inventors of Los Angeles. 230 top science students, 46 teams from 26 high schools are preparing to compete in the LADWP Science Bowl regional competition. Today's scrimmage is set up in a game show format.
The teams are in 10 different rooms. We have 2 teams going head-to-head with toss-up and bonus questions.
North Hollywood High School has been among the top competitors.
We've won this competition. The LADWP won 17 times in the last 19 years. We won nationals once, and a couple of seconds, and a couple of thirds, and they're always strong.
The winning team at the regional competition will then go on to compete at the U.S. Department of Energy's National Science Bowl, held in the spring, a competition where LA students have a chance to shine.
I love chemistry, so I think, if I study more and more, I think I could make it. I think I could answer most of the questions.
And while the competition focuses on challenging the students' potential, it also is a platform that encourages them to pursue careers in science.
We want to encourage students from all backgrounds and all parts of the city to pursue studies and careers in math, science, and technology. The city needs engineers, scientists. The Department of Water and Power needs hires engineers and scientists.
I love science, and this is something that I get to do to pursue that interest, and it's just a really great experience.
An experience that may prove to be the right mix of elements for future success. I'm Rasha Goel for LA This Week.
LADWP Science Bowl is one of 10 regional competitions in California and 65 nationwide. Well, did you know that ships are some of our heaviest polluters? But they don't have to be, and the Port of LA is getting on board with an investment of $150 million into alternative green energy and something called AMP technology. And Marco shows us the latest ship to get amped up and what it's all about.
The cable is now connected, and the battleship Iowa becomes the latest ship to get plugged into clean and green energy at the Port of LA through the AMP system, which stands for Alternative Maritime Power.
Shoreside Power Technology has helped us to substantially reduce ship emissions here in America's busiest trade gateway.
Plugging a ship into AMP and taking it off diesel energy while it's on shore is the emissions equivalent of taking 33,000 cars off the road in one day. The Port of LA led the way in creating AMP technology in 2004, and it is now built into all new ships around the world.
Port of Los Angeles was the first worldwide port in introducing the AMP technology that is used on more than 600 ships.
It was technology like this that has now become California state law and a global standard for our industry.
Today, the battleship Iowa is going one better when it comes to going green. It's about to make all 10,000 lights on its decks more earth-friendly as well.
We're right now working to upgrade our interior lighting. It's 1980s lighting, and it's our fluorescent lamps, and we're working on LED lights, which should reduce our power expenditure by about 66%.
The battleship Iowa, being a teaching museum, has even built an exhibit to teach visitors about the impact of AMP technology, because even an historic ship has to look forward to the future when it comes to greening the environment. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
Ships are responsible for about half of all port pollution in the South Bay. Well, back in downtown LA, a sculpture in the Civic Center could be receiving the musical makeover it deserves after 40-plus years of ridicule. Gil Reyes has more. Gil.
Well, Yana, this public art piece in downtown Los Angeles has had several unflattering nicknames over the years, including the Tri-Foolery and 3 wishbones in search of a turkey. But now a group of city preservationists may have the financial backing to finally turn this into something very special.
The last time it lit up and broadcast music was more than a year ago on its 40th anniversary celebration, and many of the lights didn't even work. Since then, the art piece known as the Triforium has stood without a purpose. In fact, the 60-foot-tall sculpture built by the late artist Joseph Young has never lived up to its full potential.
He saw this as a musical instrument that people could play, that people could interact with. But you're making this in conjunction with Los Angeles City, so you have a lot of people you need to talk to and a lot of people you need to convince, a lot of moving parts. It ran over budget, tragically, and so it has a bumpy start and never really gets off the ground. So it just sort of sat here and waited and waited and waited and waited.
Enter Tom Carroll and his friends at the Triforium Project. They've received a $100,000 grant from the Goldhirsch Foundation to refurbish the lights and, yes, make the music from it composed by the public, instead of being blared from a CD player or hidden keyboardist. How? Well, with planned motion sensors placed around the sculpture. LA-based electropop band Yacht are partners in this project.
We can build a very inexpensive computerized network system that allows people not only to create music by running around and dancing with the Triforium and creating footfall-based, sensor-based reactions,
but also to send small compositions from their smartphones to the Triforium to play.
So anyone, you don't have to be a musician. You can just tap out a few different color bars and send your piece right to the work itself.
We think it'll cost more than $100,000, unfortunately, to do all of that. So we're right now in this process of identifying other grants, potentially city funds, other partnerships, and really to kind of realize the idea of what the Triforium was always supposed to be, but that the technology didn't permit in 1975.
A musical instrument anyone can play. In downtown Los Angeles, I'm Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The group believes the project fits right in with Councilman Jose Huizar's plan to turn the Civic Center into a more pedestrian-friendly, dynamic destination. Well, authorities arrest several suspects wanted in connection with a deadly fire that happened more than 2 decades ago. A new bridge over the Los Angeles River helps connect the San Fernando Valley with downtown LA. And city officials get ramped up for a new skate park. All these stories in City Beat. More than 20 years after a massive fire at a Westlake apartment building killed 10 people, including 7 children and 2 pregnant women, authorities have arrested the suspects accused of setting the blaze. Prosecutors plan to file 12 counts of capital murder charges against alleged gang members Ramiro Alberto Valerio and Joseph Alberto Mong. Another suspect, Joanna Lopez, was charged in 2011 with murder related to the fire and was already being held. Los Angeles Police Chief Charlie Beck said the suspects were involved in large-scale narcotic sales, adding that detectives just would not let go of this case. New evidence and witnesses helped investigators identify the arson suspects. Officials described the fire as the deadliest arson in state history.
We believe the most horrific case of arson in the city of Los Angeles history.
City leaders and community members recently celebrated the grand opening of the newly constructed Riverside Drive Bridge and Roundabout. The new bridge is approximately 1,200 feet in length and includes a barrier-protected auxiliary lane for bicyclists and pedestrians. The project is the first bridge in the city of LA that has a Class 1 bike path. At the end of the bridge, there is a new multi-lane roundabout, also the first in LA. The $60 million investment was made possible with funding from multiple sources. City Council District 13, the Department of Recreation and Parks, and the city's Bureau of Engineering announced that funding has been identified to start work on a new skate park located at the Echo Park Recreation Center, replacing this abandoned and graffitied pool near the 101 freeway. The designs include a mini bowl in the center of the park and street-style elements along the park perimeter. The venue will be geared toward both beginning and intermediate level skaters and utilize 7,000 square feet of space at the recreation center.
There's going to be a lot of elements that skaters will love, but young skaters are especially going to love this skate park.
Get up close and personal with Curious George and Daniel Tiger from PBS Kids. Have a sweet tooth? Well, this convention will certainly satisfy all of your cravings. And the Harlem Globetrotters put on quite a show on the court. All this in this week's Things to Do. The Los Angeles Zoo and Botanical Gardens hosts PBS SoCal Kids Weekend. The event fills the zoo's eucalyptus grove with a variety of engaging fun for families with book readings, themed crafts, activities, and a kids' dance party. Guests can enjoy a special opportunity to take photos with PBS Kids characters Curious George and Daniel Tiger from Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. PBS SoCal Kids Weekend activities are free with paid admission to the LA Zoo. It all takes place on Saturday, February 18th and Sunday, February 19th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For more, visit lazoo.org. Meet thousands of Californians who share your brand's love for all things sweet, salty, and savory in the world of baking and sweets. Dubbed the West Coast's biggest baking and pastry convention, the LA Cookie Con and Sweet Show is coming to the Los Angeles Convention Center. You'll be able to see, sample, and create delicious treats. Get your taste buds and sweet tooths ready for one sweet event. The convention will have celebrity chefs, special guests, a kids zone, baking workshops, a diverse array of free samples, and a baking contest. It all takes place on February 18th and 19th. For more, visit lacookiecon.com.
Here comes the y'all don't really work
The original Harlem Globetrotters are preparing for their action-packed 2016-2017 tour. A star-studded roster will have fans on the edge of their seats to witness the ball-handling wizardry, basketball artistry, and one-of-a-kind family entertainment that thrills fans of all ages. For 90 years, the Harlem Globetrotters have provided smiles, encouraged sportsmanship, and service to millions of people worldwide. A mix of athleticism, entertainment, trick shots, and ball handling will keep the family smiling and entertained. Don't miss your chance in seeing this iconic team in action. Visit HarlemGlobetrotters.com for more. And that's a look at some things to do. Well, that's going to do it for this edition. I'm Yana Kane from all of us here at LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. A reminder that you can catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.
Hi, I'm Chris. I'm an Iyengar yoga teacher here in Los Angeles, and you're watching LA City View, Channel 35, Our City, Our Channel. Namaste.
Good morning. Good morning. Shh. If I could have everyone please take their seats. Today is Wednesday, February 15th. I want to welcome you to your Los Angeles City Council meeting. This council meets every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. Mr. Clerk, we do have a quorum. Could you call a roll, please?
Blumenfield, Bona, Buscaino, Cedillo, Engler, Harris, Dawson, Weezer, Koretz, Krikorian, Martinez, O'Farrell, Price, Rue, Wesson, 11 members present, and a quorum, Mr. President.
First order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
Mr. Weezer moves and Mr. Mitch O'Farrell seconds. Next.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
Mr. Krikorian moves and Mr. Rue seconds. Continue.
Mr. President, that brings us to items 1 through 4. They're items notice for public hearing. Yes, sir.
You have cards?
Cards on all items, sir.
Continue.
Very good. Items 5 through 11 are items for which public hearings have been held. A committee report for item 11 has been posted and circulated for council's consideration.
Okay, then let's prepare. If there are no specials from the members, let's prepare to vote on these items. Let's open the roll, close the roll, tabulate the vote.
11 ayes.
Continue.
Items 12 through 17 are items for which public hearings have not been held. 10 votes are required for consideration.
Okay, so without objection, those items are now before this body. Do we have cards?
Yes, sir. Cards on all items.
Okay.
Mr. President, that brings us to items 18 and 19. They're items scheduled for closed session. Would you like to hold them on the desk?
I'm going to defer to Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Item 18 is a proposed settlement that Budget and Finance has considered and recommends approval of the City Attorney's recommendations. Item 19 is the payment of a judgment, which again, Budget and Finance recommends approval. Both of those matters can be resolved in open session unless members have questions or concerns that need to be discussed in closed session.
Okay. You want to take, Mr. Clerk? You want to take those items up now, or?
Very good, sir. I can read the judgment, the settlement amounts, and then we should take the cards for those matters. For item 18, in the case entitled Canyon Capital Advisors, LLC, and ICE Canyon, LLC versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to accept the proposed settlement offer whereby the plaintiffs agree to be taxed under the business tax rate according to Los Angeles Municipal Code Section 21.49 and forfeit all refund claims totaling over $5.2 million for tax years 2009 through 2014 in exchange for future tax credits in the amount of $5.89 million. For item 19, in the cases entitled Roberto Alanis versus City of Los Angeles and Cesar Mata versus City of Los Angeles, there is a recommendation to pay a total of $495,151.11 plus applicable interest to comply with the court's judgments.
Okay, thank you. So I think what we'll do, we'll go into the presentation portion of today. That's what we'll start off with. If I could get Mr. Englander to take the chair. Yeah, so we'll get back to those items. We'll go through the agenda. We're going to begin with the presentation part of our program. I want to say good morning to to our president, good morning to all of the guests that are with us today, and good morning to all of my colleagues. Colleagues, as you know, this month is African American Heritage Month or Black History Month, and what we attempt to do is to highlight individuals that have made contributions not only to the African American community, but to the community at large. Today, I want to just spend one moment and talk about a man named Charlie Sifford. For those of you that are golfers or, like myself, impersonate a golfer, Charlie Sifford was one of the most important figures where it relates to African Americans and golf and breaking the color barrier. He was born in North Carolina in 1922. And one of the reasons why I like him is he was a man of small stature like myself, which would let you know that it really doesn't matter how big or how strong you are where it relates to the sport and the game of golf. It is a game of skill, it is a game of mind control, and sometimes a game of luck. But anyway, this young man was born in North Carolina in 1922. He worked as a caddy, making 60 cents a day. Worked as a caddy, making 60 cents a day. By the time he was 12 or 13 years old, he could shoot par. That is something that the average person doesn't even dream about being able to do, but by the age of 13. But because he was African American, he was not allowed on the PGA Tour. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort, but eventually he was allowed to participate, and he was the first African American to win a major golf tournament, and he opened the doors for African American golfers that you see today, in particular, one of the greatest golfers of all times, Tiger Woods. If it was not for Charlie Sifford, it would not have been Tiger Woods. Charlie died at 92 years of age in my city of Cleveland, Ohio. He was a man that was respected by those of all races. I have before you today a young man who also hails from the state of Ohio, the Buckeye State, a young man who at the age of 2.5 years old, because of flu and meningitis, lost his hearing. But he had the love of a good mom and a good dad. They put him in, I think it was St. Rita's School for the Deaf, where he excelled. He went on to high school. He played golf. The young man to my right, Kevin Hall, is the first black man to ever receive a golf scholarship at Ohio State. Give him a round of applause. Just so that you know, to the Hall family, again, like I said, they're Buckeyes. They're from Cincinnati, Ohio. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. I love you anyway, even though you're from Cincinnati, Ohio, because we are all Buckeyes. But this young man was selected by the Kent Bentley, who's with me today, is the Advocates Tour, right? Or stop me when I'm wrong, Kent. Just the Advocates Professional Golf Association. A bunch of individuals, and they receive funding from a variety of sources. They put on 5, 6, 7 tournaments a year. And what they are able to do is to get an exemption for the winner of their tournaments to play in the Genesis tournament that's going to start tomorrow, I believe, at Riviera. And so if I'm wrong, just stop me.
Okay, I'll stop you.
Okay, so I mean, I'm gonna keep rolling until you stop me. But this young man deserved their support. And tomorrow, he's going to tee off at Riviera with some of the greatest golfers in the world. Let's give him a round of applause for that. But I think what's even more important than that, and I want to say this to the Hall family, you know, we are Los Angeles. We care about affording everybody the opportunity to achieve the highest that they can achieve. And we have a yearly acknowledgement and a festival for the Death, we call it the Death Festival. Just about every member of this council has supported it and been the chair of it in the years that we've had it. I know that I was the chair. And I tell you what's so great, not only is this young man a great golfer, he is an inspiration to those that are hearing impaired, that just about anything is possible. I can remember Mitch O'Farrell, who I'm pointing to over there. He brought a young man before this council who was deaf, who won Dancing with the Stars. So anything is possible. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to present to you Kevin Hall and his family. One day we may see him hold up one of the big trophies. One day he may wear that green jacket down at Augusta. One day he may inspire children of all colors to dream and dream big. Ladies and gentlemen, our African-American recipient for today, Mr. Kevin Hall. And so I would like to present you from the city of Los Angeles, Kevin, a certificate. Hopefully this will be a little good luck for you tomorrow. I will ask you to give me a tee or a ball. Give me some memento from your start tomorrow. We're so honored to have you with us, and we on the City Council wish you the best of luck. Let's give one round of applause. I'm going to ask Kevin's mom. To say a few words. Maybe Kevin wants to say a few words, but Mom seems to be large and in charge, and so I'm going to defer to you. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Hall.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. He wanted to look at this for a few minutes to let it soak in. But being the parents of a child with a disability is no easy task. You have to, when Kevin lost his hearing at 2.5, we knew nothing about deaf culture. We knew nothing about the deaf. Our whole world was turned upside down, so we had to become inventive as to how we were going to teach this young man. So we did what anybody in their right mind would do. We got on our knees, and we put everything in God's hands, and from that point on, God led us to teach us and invent new ways to teach Kevin so that he can have a productive life in this world. And as a result of that, Kevin, when he started St. Rita School for the Deaf, but he was mainstreamed in every other area of his life. And so we figured that would make him a more well-rounded human being. So we got him involved in bowling. He's a 200 scratch bowler. We got him involved in baseball. He was pursued by every great team. During that time he could, but baseball was not Mama's favorite. We got him involved in golf at the age of 9 through a family friend who just saw Kevin and realized that Kevin had good hand and eye coordination, and sometimes and he wanted to teach Kevin really badly. So after 2 years of pondering that and begging me, I finally said okay. And the minute this child put a golf club in his hand, he was completely hooked. So from that, when I saw what his potentials were in golf and what his potentials were in bowling and also what his potentials were in baseball, my husband and I sat him down and said, what do you want to do? What do you think is going to be best for you in your life? So Kevin said, I love baseball. You know I love baseball, Mom. I love bowling. You know I love bowling, Mom. I love golf. You know I love golf, Mom. I said, look, I know you love all those things, but your dad and I need you to make a decision. Which one is going to get you a full scholarship in college? So he chose golf, and from there, everything just soared. And he's a tremendous young man. He's a joy of our lives. Our home is so full of joy when he's there. And we just thank God every day for his grace and his mercy and his love that sustains us. And we thank God for allowing us to be the parents of Kevin Michael Hall. Thank you. He said, I don't have an interpreter here, but I do have my mother. He said, bear with him as he uses his voice. I want to thank God for everything he's done for me. Without him, would be possible. This would not be possible. I want to thank the council for giving me this wonderful award. It's an honor. I will add this to my room. I can't wait. I think when I first started with golf, when I was 11, I remember walking onto a driving range. I looked to the left, I looked to the right. People were hitting balls. I took the first club that I saw. I tried to copy what I saw. I hit it. From that point, I was hooked. I wanted to practice every day. I wanted to play every day, learn as much as I could about golf. Then I saw this young black guy on TV. His name was Tiger Woods. He was winning everything left and right. One day I want to do this. I want to be out there, be on TV. I worked very hard, became the best golfer in the city, and from there, I got a scholarship to OSU. Wonderful opportunity. Then I won the Big Ten championship. Then I decided to turn pro. My dream was getting closer and closer. Then I met Mr. Sifford. My first few years as a pro, he shared lots of history with me, stories. I still remember that day. It was an awesome experience. Wonderful man. And then, fast forward to now, I'm here playing Opunsa's Exemption under his name. Amazing honor. Can't wait to get started tomorrow. I want to take this opportunity to thank my sponsors for this week. Buffalo Wild Wings, StopPainting.com, and my church, Lincoln Heights Missionary Baptist Church. I thank all those people for their support, and the Advocate Professional Golf Association. They gave me a place to play last year, and I won 2 tournaments, and because of that, gave me the exposure that I need to get this exemption. So thank you, guys. And again, I want to thank God. Send some good vibes his way tomorrow. And on behalf of my husband and I, we also want to thank Buffalo Wild Wings for your support of the Advocate Tour and for your contribution to the final point-winning situation. And thank you, Mr. Bentley, for all that you do as president of the Advocate Professional Golf Association, and you, Mr. Jean, for your support as well. And we're just honored to be here, and we just thank you so much for your time. Thank you. Oh, Kevin is the talkative deaf person I've ever met in my life. He has one more thing to say.
After Kevin,
I have to give lots and lots and lots of thanks to two people who have put up with me for 34 years. Are they here? My mother and my father. I love you too. Love you too. All right.
Let's give them another round of applause. And just so that you know, the main Buffalo Wild Wings is located in the district that I represent. So if you guys want some buffalo wings, just come Crenshaw and MLK, Buffalo Wild Wings.
All right.
And, I talked about Kevin giving me something, and while he was talking, I got a text from my wife, and my wife said that he needs to give me a golf lesson. Anyway, congratulations, Kevin. Thank you so much for spending time with us today.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much. And while you're taking pictures, Mr. President, I've got a couple special announcements, a couple folks here that I'd like to introduce to all of you, and particularly to my colleagues, that if you haven't had a chance to meet these two right here, you need to. You're talking about Buffalo Wild Wings in your district. Well, I've got one in Northridge, so we're going to have a cook-off, I think. Speaking of Northridge, though, I also have Brent, who lives in Northridge here, and he is the L.A. area director for our new U.S. Senator Kamala Harris. So let's give Brent a big round of applause. Make sure you take the time to introduce yourself to him. And Julie as well, the state director, is here in our chambers, and we really appreciate all the work that you guys are doing and coming down to introduce yourself, and we welcome you at any time and want to make sure that you meet everybody here as well. So thank you very much for being here. Truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. No, thank you very much. All right. With that, Mr. Clerk, where does that take us?
Mr. President, that takes us either to items called special or to multiple agenda comment.
Okay. Let's go ahead and go to... Oh, we've got another presentation. Are they ready? Okay, well, let's go ahead and go with the other presentation. And if I could ask Councilwoman Martinez to take the chair for a minute, come up.
Mr. Wu, you ready for a presentation, sir?
Thank you, Madam President, and good morning, colleagues. I am very proud to kick off the annual March of Babies campaign in the city of Los Angeles. The city has a very long-standing relationship with the March of Dimes and has raised millions of dollars over the decade-long partnership. The March of Dimes works at the national level, but its mission is very local. In 1 year, in Los Angeles County, we have 125,221 babies born. 9.3% of those babies are born preterm, which is compared to the California rate of 8.8%. 3,794 babies are born with a birth defect. 557 babies die before their first birthday. These numbers are way too high. Thankfully, the March of Dimes is working to reduce them. In fact, nearly 4 million babies are born each year in the United States, and this organization helps each and every one through advocacy, research, and education efforts. Premature birth is the leading cause of death for newborns in the United States and the leading cause of death among children under 5 around the world. The U.S. has one of the highest preterm birth rates of any high-resource country, and babies who survive an early birth may have lifelong health problems such as learning disabilities and vision and hearing loss. Not only does premature babies devastate hundreds of thousands of families each year, but the financial cost in the United States alone is roughly $26 billion. And as a public health advocate and as the chair of the Health, Mental Health, and Education Committee, I believe that we must invest in programs like these to provide a brighter future for all children in our city. And at this point, I'd like to welcome the Los Angeles World Airport, which will be the leading department who will be supporting the March of Dimes this year. And to represent LAWA, we have Treva Miller. Treva?
Hello. Thank you very much for having us here today. I'm the LAX Charitable Campaign Coordinator, and it is truly an honor that Los Angeles World Airports was selected as the LA City Lead team for the 2017 March for Babies campaign. We've been a strong supporter of the March of Dimes going all the way back to 2002, and we were told by the March of Dimes staff that they selected us this year because our little team was able to nearly triple our funds collected in last year. And they hope that this will inspire other city teams to double their efforts. And hope is really what the March of Dimes is all about. We hope that one day all children will be born healthy and there will no longer be any premature births or birth defects. And we think with the support of all the city departments and of the council and millions of people around the world that one day all the children in LA and all around the world will no longer have to suffer from this and they will all be born healthy. And we really thank you and are happy to be a part of this.
Thank you, Ms. Miller. And lastly, I want to first recognize the executive director of the March of Dimes, Carrie Boatner. Carrie, great seeing you here. But on behalf of the March of Dimes, we have development manager, Allison Sprafkin. Allison?
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having us here today. My name is Allison Sprafkin, and I do work with the LA March for Babies campaign. I want to thank Councilmember Ryu as well as Council President Wesson for supporting our campaign over these last several years, and I'd like to thank the City of Los Angeles for its decades-long partnership with the March of Dimes. The City of Los Angeles raised about $120,000 last year for healthy babies and has raised millions of dollars over the last throughout their tenure as a partner of March for Babies. As Councilmember Ryu mentioned, the issue of preterm birth is an international epidemic, but it is very relevant on a local level. 1 in 28 babies is actually born in Los Angeles County. So that's a lot of babies, and that means that our mission is incredibly critical here. The preterm birth rate had been going down for many years, and last year was the first year it ticked up just a bit. So our mission is as critical as ever right now. And on a personal note, I want to let you guys know that I am actually what we call a mission mom. So my son was born 15 weeks early in 2007. So back in 2007, he was one of those statistics. And we were given some pretty grim odds and told that he might not survive. And that if he did, we weren't sure what kind of life he might have. But to make a very long story very short, today he is 9.5 years old. He is happy and healthy and thriving. He is in 4th grade, and he has virtually no residual effects of his prematurity. And that is due in large part to the efforts of March of Dimes. So please know that your support of the organization means a lot to the issue of preterm birth on a global level, but also to families like mine right here in Los Angeles, whose child would not be here today without the research that March of Dimes has championed. So both personally and professionally, I thank you, and we look forward to the March for Babies campaign 2017. Thank you.
Thank you, Allison, and don't go anywhere. Before I make the presentation, I know everybody remembers March of Dimes. When you were in elementary school, you get a little envelope, you find your loose change, and you get a sticker when you give it back to your teacher. Can you remind us how people could donate in the city of LA or in all the departments, some of the methods?
Sure. So the City of LA walkers, people who will be involved with the campaign, can register at marchforbabies.org. There is online fundraising. It's pretty simple. We also, within the various departments, there are many in-office fundraisers, including things like Blue Jeans for Babies, which some of the departments do. And I've heard of many different kinds of fundraisers, bake sales, contests. People get very creative with this stuff, but the easiest way is at marchforbabies.org, and I hope that you all will register and participate as well, and come celebrate with us on April 29th at Exposition Park right here in Los Angeles.
Great, thank you. So keep your eyes open in all the departments. The various departments are going to be letting all the employees know how they could get involved. And I know LAWA is going to lead the way. They tripled their donation from the previous year. So I'm sure they'll have lots of creative ideas. And with that said, I'd like to, on behalf of the Los Angeles City Council, thank the March of Dimes and the March for Babies for advocating all your work on children. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, come on in. Right here. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Rue. Let's move on to speakers. Mr. Clerk, let's take up Mr. Eric Previn. Are you here? Mr. Previn? Mr. Previn is not in the room. Next speaker. Sean? Sean, are you here? Sean? Mr. Previn, I've already called Sean. Can you please step to the side? Mr. Sean, Sean's right behind you, sir. Thank you.
What item? I don't know my.
Okay, Sean, you filled out item 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Those are your items.
Item number 1, I support the item. Item number 2, we have to think about this item. So. Item 16, I support the item. 1 minute for general public comments, sir. Anybody but Eric Garcetti. Eric Garcetti, I wasn't satisfied with him. Anybody but Eric Garcetti. For Councilwoman District 7, lady for Council District 7. Also, number 12, a woman council. Number 13, some women are running for city council. Anybody but Eric Garcetti. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. John Walsh. Item 1, 12, 13, 15, and 16.
John Walsh, blogging at HollywoodHighlands.org or J. Walsh Confidential, tweeting at Hollywood Dems. Okay, 12, really courageous, banning the possession of large capacity ammunition magazines. How many people have been murdered by a large magazine, capacity ammunition magazine? The answer is nobody has. This is not a danger. This is not a threat. And when the NRA comes in with their lawyers, Mike Fewer is going to have to bend over and take it. Because this is, forget about these are not the issues we are interested in. We're interested in a city that is filthy and personal crimes, where 3 people shot in Hollywood the other day, not by large capacity ammunition after a club closed down. Number 13, this is street vending. Remove the potential to use a criminal remedy against a person who fails to pay an administrative citation. Why do we have it now? Why do we have crime? Why is it a crime now to street vend? But now you're going to change it. It's all mixed up. Citation enforcement program, remove the potential to use a criminal remedy, vending to issuance of citations. Next. Number 15. Okay, this is the most important one here. This is from my home country, Switzerland. And recommendation for approval by the mayor for amount of $1,337,700.21 as a bribe to Credit Suisse. They're paying Swiss everything they want. The job of Credit Suisse Securities, this is their USA branch, is to go, now that they get the $1.3 million bribe, is to go to Switzerland and try to twist the arm of the Swiss to come here for the Olympics. And if they come here for the Olympics, remember, if blacks riot in Paris, they murder them. They murder them. This is the only country you can get away with anything like what we get away with here, public people who fight. So forget about Credit Suisse. Don't give them a dime. And let's go into public comment, general public comment. Okay, number 1, Measure S is continuing to build. Here is a booklet. They won't show you my face because I'm a Jew. They don't show Jew faces on TV when they're public comment. This is Measure S, the solution for the future. No blacks support it. Bullshit! Diane Watson, former congresswoman. She's 100% in favor of Measure S. Gloria Romero, former senator. Bullshit! She supports this. Mayor Richard Reardon, you see our ads all over television. Your mailbox is being full of Measure S. There's an apartment renting downtown for $25,000 a month. That's what they're worried about. They're worried about the scumbags can afford $25,000. HollywoodHighlands.org.
All right, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Anna Maria? Oh, I'm sorry, you know what? Yeah, that's fine. We only have one card, so it's not multi-items, but on item 1. Let's go ahead and actually, these folks that have been waiting on item 1 for a while, we'll go ahead and go to them, and then we'll come back to the multi-cards. So, Anna? Anna Maria Gill? Oh, is she on item 13? That's fine. We'll go ahead and take her now. That's okay.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Ana María Gil, soy vendedora ambulante.
Good morning, my name is Ana Maria Hill and I'm a street vendor.
Estoy aquí para agradecer por liderar para nuestra propuesta y darnos el voto a favor el 31 de enero.
Hi, I'm here to translate. Okay, la batata sí.
Okay. Okay. Buenos días, mi nombre es Ana María Gil y soy un vendedor ambulante.
Good morning, my name is Ana Maria Gil and I am a street vendor.
Estoy aquí para agradecer a todo el concilio por liderar para nuestra propuesta.
I am here to thank all the city council members for the leadership in our proposal.
Y darnos su voto a favor el día 31 de enero.
And to give us your vote on favor on January the 31st.
De otro modo, es muy importante que nos traten, que no nos traten como criminales.
It is also very important not to be treated as criminals.
Necesitamos ayuda para quitar las multas del pasado.
We need the support to remove the fines from the past.
Les agradezco seguir liderando por nuestra propuesta.
We thank you for being our leaders in our proposal.
Y lo más pronto posible para poder sacar ya nuestros permisos.
As soon as possible so that we can get our permits.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dan? 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, and 17. Can you just please stay on those items, please?
Council members, good morning. I agree with item number 12, adding a sunset date to the large capacity ammunition magazines. I guess my question is, why did you not do this when you wrote the law outlawing the magazines to begin with? Because I'm sure that every gang member in the city of Los Angeles is going to comply with your sunset clause. Regarding item number 13, your administrative citation enforcement program, again, it's a good item. You want to eliminate the criminal remedy for people who are street vending if they fail to pay the administrative citation. Well, okay, then why have a citation to begin with? If there's somebody selling, for example, socks or tamales or something, if you're going to give them a citation and you don't want to have a penalty for not paying the citation, then waive the damn citation and you'll save the city money. What are you doing if you're not going to have a fine giving people citations? So it's a good idea, but what is this charade about giving them citations in the first place? It's ass backwards. Regarding item number 15, now this is interesting. Credit Suisse Securities, you're going to refund $1.337 million plus interest, so it's a decent amount of money, but you have no report submitted by the Office of Finance. You have nothing from the CAO's office. You have nothing from the CLA's office. You're going to refund $1.337 million plus interest, and the people who can tell you whether it's legitimate or not, a good deal, a bad deal, or what have you, don't have a report. So why is it on your agenda? Why are you voting on it? What is the deal with that? And I'm going to be really magnanimous today. I'm going to give you back your 45 seconds. Mitch, okay? I'm going to go on to my general public comment. Council members, I have the number 2 most read article on City Watch LA today, and I encourage all of the viewers who are watching us on Channel 35 to see my article on City Watch. This LA lawmaker needs a permanent timeout. On Friday, Mr. Englander came this close to getting the city in severe financial jeopardy. He was throwing out Mr. Herman, who was being his wonderful, obnoxious but legal self, and then Mr. Englander said, "We're going to throw you out for multiple meetings." Immediately, Mr. Englander's mic was cut, and you could read his lips. You'll see the link in my article. Mr. Englander said, "Oh, we can't do that to the city attorney." So the question is, if Mr. Englander is going to try to suspend people from future council meetings, he better know the law because you lost $600,000 in the Zumadog suit. You guys better remove Englander from that seat.
Thank you very much. We'll bring up Mr. Hunt.
Yes, I'm recognizing myself as
Item
9
12,
Circuit.
1 minute for item 12.
The gun solution. Yeah, the gun clips. Well, whatever it is, get rid of the guns and get some rubber bullets. I got that out the way. Now I'm going to public comment. The Honorable 9th Circuit winner Michael Hunt, 9th Circuit winner twice, on my way to 3 times, getting ready to sue the city of Los Angeles again. Based on the constitutional violation, downstairs I was arrested for wearing my garb. It was something like Trump trying to pass his Constitution and its protected speech. That garb was protected speech, and you guys detained me for wearing it to a public meeting twice. Just want to put you guys on notify. Paul Kokorian, you will be getting a complaint from my attorney with this. If you guys think I'm playing, it's Jason Roaming, Steve Rohde, Carol Sobel, and Jim Lampley. I'm bringing the dream team in this time because I can afford it. Just to let you guys know, I don't play with constitutional violations, and it's called the California tort. When we put in the claim, they denied it.
Thank you very much. Juan Acala. Mr. Acala.
Wishes to speak.
Item 1, 2, and 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Okay. Now that you have thoroughly confused me, I will continue. Item 1, as you know, the city of Los Angeles keeps claiming they want to end homelessness. But they keep giving people that have a home citations for thousands and thousands of dollars. When they are not able to pay this citation, they call them liens. They really lean on the people real heavily. When they're not able to pay their lien, they sell the house from under them just to recover the amount of the lien. This sucker here in San Pedro Street owes $8,137, and he probably doesn't even know it because the city doesn't give proper notice to the people they put a lien against. So a lot of people are losing their home and they don't even know. And sometimes they find out at the very last minute they don't have the money to pay. Therefore, these liens are illegal, immoral, and against the idea of not having any more homelessness in this city. You are creating more homelessness. That asshole Donald Trump never talked anything about homelessness. Why? Because he owns thousands of homes. Anyway, let's continue on item number 1. There's here another dude that owes $2,073, and another guy that owns $2,557. It doesn't even matter who they are, as long as they bring revenue to the city by any means possible. This city is a bunch of thieves. You are robbing the people, driving them homeless, and pretending that you want to end homelessness. There's no way, unless we change the laws to reflect a new system for owning property or for having a property for the time you're alive. Okay? We need to change it so everybody has the right to have a home first and everything else later. It should be a human right to have a place to live. Right, city attorney? You haven't said a damn word. I'm glad you didn't, because you don't know shit. Anyway, now public comment. Public comment. Yeah. I hate that fucker Donald Trump. I hate his guts, and it's okay to hate a redneck son of a bitch, because he wants to make this country a redneck country again. And that has become virtually impossible because there's people from all over the world here. And most of them do not think in those redneck ways. I just saw 3 beautiful ladies on the subway. I think they were from Germany or somewhere in Europe. They looked beautiful. They were showing a little too much flesh for me, but I enjoyed it anyway. At any rate, rednecks are out there praying, oh my God, my gospel, oh my gospel, my God, my God, and hating everybody else around the world. Fuck you all rednecks.
Eric Previn. Eric, please stay on the items first. Items 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, and 19. Those are the cards to which you have filled out.
Yes, it is Eric Previn from Studio City, and I am running for the office of Mayor of Los Angeles. Thank you, Mr. Englander. Item number 1 is the traditional lien item here at City Hall, and there are today Councilmember Martinez, who chipped in this morning to try to stumble the folks up here, has a nice lien on her property. CD7, where Herb Wesson has been illegally parked, not in the seat of Council President, but near it, has a nice lien in CD7. And Council Member Price, if I may, has really done a nice job of sticking by the Council President and perniciously going after one of his residents as well during an election time. It shows a lot of bravery to continually go after these people. And in, obviously, Buscaino, the perkiest and happiest of all the council members, with Bonin, sending out a blast that's not a campaign ad. It's about getting law enforcement going. It has one on his constituents as well, so we appreciate his efforts there to go after his residents. Item number 15 is among the fishiest items on the agenda today, as everybody knows. This is Credit Suisse USA LLC, who, despite all of their bankers and helpers, were unable to get the payments right and evidently overpaid by $1.3 million. I would direct the Federal Bureau of Investigation and anybody else to look at this refunding program down here at Los Angeles City Hall. It is an embarrassment. Right down to the Marriott fake hotel property in the East Coast. This is really, really bad stuff, guys. So if you're caring about your constituents and the future of Los Angeles, get into it. And work on it and make it fair and reasonable. It's crazy. Item number 13 is the Administrative Citation Enforcement Program. Thank you for making it not illegal to be a street vendor. And we do not want criminal behavior attached to that activity where you're trying to feed your family. We don't want it, and this body has stepped sort of in that direction. Item number 18 was the legal settlement you just had, but I was not able to hear what the clerk read, but it sounded like a couple, 18 or 19, a couple of LLCs suing about the Office of Finance, and the settlement appeared to be covering their $5 million deal, plus paying them a few $100,000 for their trouble, which I assume is for the attorney. Is that true, Mr. Cedillo? You approve that, so well done during the campaign, sir. You're able to stand up for City Hall. This is a community of people working together to squash dissent, and we do notice it and are, frankly, a little disgusted by it. That is disgusting, as Mike Bonin said in a campaign ad recently. Now, am I on my general public comment now? I'm going to go for that. Give me a minute. Thank you. No, that was 3 minutes. Let's not give Mr. Wesson something to grab his chest over. 1 minute will be fine. What can one say about Vision Zero other than we are all collectively focused on saving lives? We want nobody to get hurt by a car. We've all said that multiple times. It's important to unmask, however, what is at play. The County Board of Supervisors did a feeble job of trying to join Mayor Garcetti in what has been established and proven to be an opportunity to revenate, that means get revenue, off of Angelenos, New Yorkers, and most perniciously, people arriving in airports putting their GPS to use. Mr. Faubel will confirm that Legislator Quirk, the legislator of the year, came up with a new program to make it highly illegal to touch your cell phone to the point where you get pulled over. So what about that and the warning on the metro and on the freeways that say it's illegal to use your cell phone? How do the Angelenos who are thinking about or fearing about getting deported feeling about that? I ask this body to step forward and banish the idea of going after poor people for revenue. It's disgusting.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please. Mr. Herman. Herman, you've got items 1, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Please stay on those items only and follow all the rules. Thank you very much.
Now, regarding a lien, we know that in Joe Busciano's first lien here, it's just a total obsession to remove people from their properties by enforcement of illegal process of liens. It's unconstitutional to force people to pay because you're tired of looking at their eyesores. The city of Los Angeles has multiple eyesores, and when you come here to bitch, guess what? On faint ears. That's CD 15. Go to Wilmington and Imperial and see for yourself. Fix that problem before you cite people on this bullshit. Now, in CD 9, CD 7, CD 6, CD 11, CD2, these are all liens. And I would like for you as elected officials to forgive these liens, lower the 300% interest, cure correct this problem immediately, and give them a certified receipt stating that this has been resolved, and take it up the ass. Thank you. Now I'm going to what other items, Mr. Chair? Stay on topic. Right. Item 13, asshole, as Sheila Q points out. We don't want tamales sold on our street. We don't want vending on our streets. Fix our streets under Woltz versus Los Angeles, because people trip and fall with all the chinchero on the goddamn street. When you fix the streets, allow the vendors to sell anything they want. I'm for it. This is America. This is what makes American, Hispanics, Angelenos great again. Thank you, Mr. City Attorney, for not interrupting me this time, bitch. Now I'm going into item on the magazine clips. Magazine clips, weapons of mass destructions. And who do they destroy? African Americans. That's where they're placed, in communities where African Americans can use such magazines of mass destructions and terrorism. Not that African American month, I'm saying that they're bad people. Look at the gentleman that was up here this morning on presentation, the deaf man, a wonderful man. A wonderful man, expressing his talent. Right?
I think we veered off topic.
No, I'm going to finish my magazine issue. You shouldn't sell, first of all, magazines as brought out by City Watch. You shouldn't put guns and alcohol in communities where people use 50,000 rounds to make a point. Shoot the goddamn messenger. Next item. Our Ninth Circuit winner, Michael Hunt, thank you for the presentation on how we shall settle the disputes between Wayne Spindler and Michael Hunt versus the city of Los Angeles for the disruption of their lives by you bunch of hypocrites. And the city attorney, Mike Fuhr. In addition to that, Dibble Dwarf with the big ears, don't be threatening me at meetings, sir. Don't you dare make a threat towards me, because I fear for my life from you, Dibble Dwarf, you reserved, stupid piece of shit cop. You have a gun on your leg? Take it off. Fight like a man. I don't want to fight you, though, because I'm not a bitch. An Aryan little bitch. The one you have and the one I have in my bag. Bitch, bitch, bitch. And besides, vote yes on S. Represent the S to say, suck off, L.A. We're not going to give you no more high-rise development. Built for the homeless. Get us out of the crisis.
and no Olympics, and my final word, fuck you.
All right. Thank you for being so eloquent. Now you're disrupting the meeting, so go ahead and have a seat, or we will remove you. Thank you. That'll be your only morning. Mr. Spindler, it's your turn. Item 12. You have 1 minute for item 12.
Of Nori. I thought they get 2 minutes. All right. 60 seconds of bullshit. Yes. Now, what are we doing to the pig today? High capacity magazine? Why do people need bullets for guns? You need to have peace. Do not use a gun. Use litigation. The largest weapon in Los Angeles is not a weapon. It is a lawsuit. Yes, the lawsuit is the high-capacity magazine of Los Angeles. And your fucking asses have gotten sued twice now on large-capacity magazines. You can keep the large-capacity magazines. Keep my guns, Herbie. See you in court. Yes. Liar, perjurer.
1 minute for general public comment.
All right. As you saw, yes, the third Ninth Circuit winner is here, Mr. Hunt. And you know what we found out? 2 illegal arrests. What about Matt Johnson on the open mic, talking to his lawyers? Yes, I have it. So-called disruption? No. Retaliation for First Amendment rights? Yes. Proven beyond a reasonable doubt. So, what's the problem? We filed the paperwork. What's the issue? I'm here with my puppet. Let's get this done, baby. Let's get this done. You wanted me here to work. I had a job. You and Mr. Eric Rose want to take my job, so I got a new job. Let's get the cash register, baby, right now.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go ahead and take up some of the items. Colleagues, we'll go ahead and take up items 2, 3, and 4, 14, 16, and 17. 2, 3, and 4, 14, 16, and 17. So those items are now before us. We'll go ahead and open the roll. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, we can go ahead and take items 12 as well. There's no additional cards on 12. So let's go ahead and take that up as well. Go ahead and open the roll on 12. Close the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That item is approved. Thank you. All right. Go back over to speakers, please, and we'll go ahead and go over to item 1. Dixon Said. Dixon here? Not here? Okay. Rahim Bajani on item 1. Rahim? No longer here? Okay. We'll go ahead and note your card as well. Fonda Cox on 1. Fonda? No longer here? Okay. Next item, please. Next speaker. Howie? No? Okay. Next item, please. Next speaker. All right, so we have no other cards on item 1, so we can go ahead and take item 1. Please open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, next item, please. Okay, let's go ahead and go to item 13. All right, I'm going to call up a number of cards to come up. Conrad Vasquez, Merced Sanchez, Carolyn Ramsey, Leticia Andrade. If you can all please start making your way. I don't see Carolyn here, so we'll go ahead and file her card. And go to the other speakers, please. Good morning.
Good morning.
If you could please state your name for the record.
Mi nombre es María Caridad Vázquez
My name is Maria Calidad Vasquez,
y soy vendedora ambulante.
and I am a street vendor.
Antes que nada quiero darle las gracias
Before anything else, I want to thank you
por lo que pasó la ley.
that the law passed.
Pero desde ese momento que pasó la ley,
Since the time the law passed,
estamos viviendo muy aterrorizados los vendedores
we're living very afraid, all the vendors,
porque la ciudad anda muy atrás de nosotros
because the city is behind us,
y no nos están dejando vender.
and they're not letting us sell.
A nombre de todos mis compañeros,
On behalf of all our friends,
queremos pedirles
we want to ask you
que nos apoyen
to support us
a que pues, la ciudad no ande atrás de nosotros,
to avoid having the city behind us.
porque si no, no vamos a tener dinero
Otherwise, we won't be having money
para poder sacar nuestros permisos.
to get our permits.
Y es muy importante eso para todos nosotros los que andamos vendiendo en la calle,
And that is very important for all of us who are selling on the street,
porque todo esto nos impacta a todos los vendedores
because it is an impact on all the street vendors
ante la migración
before
y
immigration
también esto de la ciudad que nos está quitando nuestras cosas.
and about the city that is removing our things.
Por favor,
Please
mírenos cómo estamos vendiendo ahorita y cómo estamos todos los vendedores.
look the way we are selling and how our street vendors are.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Buenos días, señores concejales. Mi
Good-
nombre es Merced Sánchez
Good morning, council members. My name is Merced Sanchez,
y soy vendedora ambulante.
and I am a street vendor.
Estoy aquí para agradecer su compromiso
I am here to thank for your compromise
en la legalización de la venta ambulante.
on legalizing the street vending.
Nos urge a los vendedores ambulantes
We demand all street vendors
que pase la ley lo más pronto posible, ya que estamos siendo criminalizados.
that you guys approve the law as soon as possible because we have been criminalized.
Durante estas últimas 2 semanas, la ciudad se ha puesto más estricta. Hemos tenido más confiscación de mercancía.
During the past 2 weeks, the street has been more strict with us. We've been having a lot of harassments.
Como vendedores ambulantes, estamos aterrorizados
As street vendors, we are afraid
sobre las redadas que han pasado aquí en la ciudad de Los Ángeles.
about the raids that are happening right in the city of Los Angeles.
Y nosotros al salir a trabajar sin
And-
un permiso legal para venta,
And we go out to sell without a permit sale,
estamos más expuestos.
we are more exposed to it.
Señores concejales, sé que ustedes tienen el poder
Council members, I know that you guys have the power
de tomar una acción más fuerte
to take an strong action
y evitar la separación de nuestras familias.
and to avoid the disruption of our families.
No queremos que vuelva la época del señor Bill Wilson.
We don't want the Pete Wilson era.
Thank you. God bless America.
Buenos días, mi nombre es Leticia Andrade.
Good
y,
morning, my name is Leticia Andrade,
Y sí, venía a apoyar a mis compañeras a decir lo mismo, pues
En-
que ya lo dijeron ellos.
and I came to support my friends because they have said anything.
Solo queremos que durante la implementación de la ley de la legalización de los vendedores se aseguren que la policía conozca cómo es la ley y
I just-
cómo dejen
I-
de acosar a los vendedores.
Permítame un segundito, ¿vuelvo a repetir otra vez?
Sí, queremos que durante la implementación de la ley de la legalización de los vendedores
We want, when you guys are implementing the street vendors legalization.
Se aseguren que la policía conozca la ley y todos los detalles para que no los estén acosando y en el ambiente tenso que está viviendo ahorita la.
Make sure that the police get to know all the details to avoid having us harassed.
Debido a la tensión que existe ahorita sobre la migración, eso sería una protección extra para los vendedores, saber que no están siendo acosados.
Due to the tension that is happening right now with immigration and to avoid that the street vendors are not harassed.
A la vez estarían protegiendo a la comunidad y a los vendedores que también la mayoría de ellos son inmigrantes.
At the same time, you are helping the community and that most of them are immigrants.
Sí, gracias.
Thank you.
Humberto Yoli, Isabel Rodriguez. And Mike Dennis, final speaker.
Buenos días, señores concejales.
Good morning, City Council members.
Mi nombre es Isabel Rodríguez,
My name is Isabel Rodriguez,
madre soltera,
single mother,
vendedora ambulante.
a street vendor.
Agradezco su interés y por proteger a vendedores ambulantes.
I thank your interest in protecting street vendors.
Sabemos que ustedes
We know that you
pueden ser mucho más
we know that you guys can do more
y acelerar el proceso y en verdad proteger a las familias vendedoras.
and to speed the process and indeed protect the street vendors
Y acelerar nuestros permisos.
and to speed our permits.
Los invito
I invite you
a luchar,
to fight
a convertir a la ciudad de Los Ángeles en santuario.
and to make the city of Los Angeles a sanctuary.
Ustedes tienen el poder
You have the power
para parar este terror en nuestras comunidades.
to stop this fear in our communities.
El racismo y abuso
Racism and abuse
por parte de entidades policíacas.
on behalf of police departments.
Ustedes pueden cambiar y ser lo correcto
You can change to do the right thing
a nuestro sueño americano
to our American dream
y no un sueño de frustraciones.
and not a dream of frustration.
Yo les hago hincapié de que puedan ver
I beg you to see
del señor presidente que apoyamos,
to
que
Mr.
está muy loco.
I want you to see that the president that we're helping, he is very crazy.
Ustedes pueden analizar cómo él está en contra de las tiendas de Walmart.
You can analyze how he is against
La
de Nordstrom.
Walmart streets,
We're out of time, but
Walmart stores, Nordstrom's.
Thank you very much.
¿Cómo-
Can you
cómo
please
ella
let it,
paró?
we're out of time.
Él está procediendo en
Next speaker,
contra
please.
de los productos de su hijo, de
He's,
su hija.
he's continuing against the products of her
Thank
daughter.
you very much. Next,
Ustedes
thank you.
nos pueden
Gracias.
ayudar.
You can help
Gracias.
us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next speaker, please. Thank you.
Señores concejales, muy buenos días.
City Council members, good morning.
Mi nombre es Humberto Yauli.
My name is Humberto Yauli.
Soy vendedor ambulante.
I am a street vendor.
Estamos muy temerosos de lo que nos pueda pasar
We are very afraid of what may happen to us
por los constantes redadas de inmigración
for the immigration raids
que se está realizando no solo en contra de personas
that are taking place not only against people
con récord criminal, sino también de personas
with a criminal record, and not only with criminal record, but also with people
que honradamente trabajan por las calles de la ciudad.
that work in the city of Los Angeles in a nice way.
La historia mía es muy triste y dolorosa,
My history is very sad and painful,
como quizá la de muchos compañeros vendedores.
as perhaps like some other street vendors' friends.
Soy una víctima de crimen violento
I am a victim of a violent crime
en contra de mi hija y mi pequeño nieto de 2 años.
against my daughter and my grandson of 2 years.
Ella era también una vendedora ambulante.
She used to be a street vendor.
sufrió en carne propia el acoso policial
She suffered the harassment from the police
por ser vendedor ambulante.
for being a street vendor.
El señor concejal Price
The council member Price,
está al tanto de lo que estoy diciendo. Pasó en su distrito.
he knows what I'm saying. It happened in his district.
Lo conocí en una conferencia de prensa que dio la policía en la Newton Division.
I met him at a conference news that the police gave in Newton.
Por lo tanto, ruego que nos apoyen
Therefore, I beg you to support us
y se comprometan en nuestra causa que es justa y necesaria.
and to comply with their cause that is just and fair.
Thank you very much. We're out of time.
Muchas gracias, señores concejales.
Thank you very much, City Council members.
Good morning. My name is Mike Dennis. I'm with the LA Street Vendor Campaign. I want to echo the comments from other folks that we're very happy with the leadership the council's taken on street vending, particularly the leadership of Councilmember Huizar, Price, and Buscaino. It's important. Today is really important for decriminalization, but we do want to remind council that we decriminalized 42B, but we still have not decriminalized Section 6344, which is in parks. So vendors that are vending in parks are still at risk, the same way the vendors in sidewalks were before. We also want to stress that it's important to protect street vendors from onerous fines from the ACE program, and looking at creative ways to lead with education in enforcement and compliance. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And we have two speakers on the queue. Councilmember Rowe.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can I have I have a couple of questions for the City Attorney's Office. Can I have them come up? I first want to commend you on a fine job, and the City Attorney and your entire office for all the work that you've done and continue to work on these topics. I just had a quick question about, in your report, the City Attorney's report, your office notes that the prosecutors in the City Attorney's office, and this is regarding to the amnesty, in the original motion we added it in a amendment for granting amnesty for those who got a misdemeanor. And so in your report, you said the prosecutor in the City Attorney's Office filed criminal charges against the defendant on behalf of the state. And thus, once you filed, you have no legal ability to alter the course of that prosecution. Can you give us an explanation and give us a little bit more details, as it makes it sound like does no one from the City Attorney participate in the case after it's filed?
Good morning, council members. David Michelson with the City Attorney's Office. With me is Valerie Flores, also with our office. We're pleased to be here this morning and do our best to try to answer your questions. As our transmittal report indicated, the City Attorney, acting as the Chief Prosecutor for the city, does not have the legal ability to provide amnesty, pardons, commutation of sentences. It's not similar to, for instance, the President of the United States or even the Governor of the state of California, who constitutionally have that power. Once a case has gotten to the point where there's a conviction or a guilty plea, it really is then left up to the defendant at that point, with an only option of possibly seeking what was called expungement, which is allowed under state law, where the defendant, again, someone who has been convicted or pled guilty to a crime, including a misdemeanor, could file a petition with the court, requesting the court in that petition to essentially reopen the criminal case, withdraw the plea or the criminal guilty verdict, and to dismiss the charges and then reclose the case. So that is a proceeding that's available under state law at the court that a defendant could pursue. That's really the closest analogy to what otherwise might have been the suggestion of counsel.
And I know in your report, you've stated in the past year there were 22 convictions that could qualify for expungement. And also, there are currently about 13 pending cases in trial. Pending trial. So, and you know, this new ordinance decriminalizes that. So, had those 13 cases have committed or got caught after this ordinance is passed, they would no longer be in trial. So, and you know, when the city council approved the instruction to decriminalize street vending, you know, we included and we also requested a pathway towards amnesty for the current or prior misdemeanor cases for street vending. And I don't believe that the current report, goes far enough in explaining how we can move towards amnesty in the spirit of amnesty. So, so I have two questions. For the 13 current cases that you say that you cannot alter the course of prosecution, is there anything, I'm trying to figure out what we could do. Can we submit a letter to the court notifying them that this is now decriminalized and use the statute of we're now decriminalizing the statute that the prosecution is using? Or can we notify the prosecutors that the statute that they're trying to prosecute under is no longer a criminal offense?
I appreciate that, council member. Let me try to address that as best I can. Again, with respect to individuals who've already been convicted or pled guilty, there is no pathway to amnesty. The closest would be the expungement opportunity provided under state law, which a defendant can take advantage of. And there's information, for instance, on the public defender's website and on the LA Superior Court's website as to that possible avenue. As to the 13 cases that are currently pending involving 4200B street vending as charges misdemeanors, while Ms. Flores and I are not prosecutors ourselves, of course we're your lawyers as lawyers for the municipal entity, we do understand that the prosecutors in our office are reviewing those 13 cases, and if this ordinance is adopted, they will take into consideration certainly the fact that it has been decriminalized. Those 13 cases will be reviewed individually on a case-by-case basis, examining the facts of each individual case, and only the prosecutor is in a position legally to make a determination whether to continue to pursue those cases. But the prosecutors will take into account everything you just said.
Okay, I like where we're going with that, and I'm going to ask for an amendment or a recommendation to this item. But speaking on the 22 convictions that you talked about, your report listed that and these are 22 just from last year, so there might be more. And you said they're qualified, they could do expungement on their own, but can we do a little bit more? Can the city attorney's office possibly send a letter to these individuals to explain to them how the expungement process works? Is that a possibility?
So these individuals clearly would have been represented by counsel as their lawyers. Often there's the public defender's office, and that's why, for instance, the public defender has a fair bit of information on their website with respect to expungement opportunities. Public defender will at times even have expungement clinics. That's the appropriate role for the public defender. But everything you're saying we'll certainly take back to our office, to the criminal branch, to our prosecutors to consider.
So the city attorney's office can't do that? Or
it is not something that a prosecutor would be doing anywhere in the country, I don't think.
If that's not possible, would it be possible if you guys provided us the address that my office or the city council informs these constituents of their ability to expunge?
We will absolutely be pleased to work with you and provide any information that's otherwise legally available. I don't know if the defendant's addresses are public documents. Again, that's sort of the prosecutorial side of the office, but we will absolutely work with you and with the council to provide whatever information we can, because let me be very clear, the city attorney, Mike Fuhr, very much is concerned with the current situation around the country. Mr. Fuhr has made very clear his concerns, and he is fighting hard everywhere he can throughout the entire office of the city attorney. So he certainly shares not just the sentiment being raised by you and by the council.
Okay,
but he's working
we got Mr.
actively
Cedillo,
to deal
Mr. Price, Mr. Blumenfield, Mr. Huizar, and Mr. You can press your button again if you'd like after that. Okay, Mr. Cedillo, thank you.
Just want to be clear that the policy of the city is that we provide amnesty for the street vendors. There were raids that took place last week, both in Southern California and throughout the nation. Reports of people who even have standing to be here, like a young dreamer who has also been arrested. He's being prepared for deportation. These are challenging times for us. This is distinct. While there is no defense for the deportations of the Obama administration, it's understood, but this is distinct from that, in that under various pretexts, it appears that the Trump administration is trying to go out, engage in the process of deporting people, and then spreading a broader net. Anybody in the proximity, anybody nearby who has some circumstance, they're trying to deport them. This is disruptive to our city, disruptive to the foundation of our economics, and also disruptive to the social fabric of our city. It is a specter and a fetter on the quality of life for immigrants and their families. It is making them unable to participate in basic things of going to church, sending their kids to school. This cannot be minimized. And it appears to be strategic. There is a result when certain people are targeted, then it sends a chilling effect throughout the community. And so we are interested in figuring out how we facilitate the process of obtaining the expungement for the 22, and how we try to figure out some type of presumption or some type of directive. I know that the city attorney himself has been very engaged in this for the other 13, so that it's clear. I know that you have your challenges with respect to attorney-client privilege and the limits it may place on the office via contacting the people who are involved in this. But then there should be cooperation with us and maybe our offices and the city attorney's office, so that we can we're not encumbered by that. And they are constituents, and we want to reach out to them and make sure that they know that that is the policy of the city and the policy of the city attorney, to make sure that they are not vulnerable because we fail to bring a coherence between the policy of the city and the practices of the office. So,
Councilmember Cedillo, I can say with a great deal of certainty the city attorney's office shares the concern, as you so eloquently just put. And throughout our office, including our prosecutors, that's at the foremost at their mind as well, quite frankly. So we will continue to do everything we can, both on the civil side of the office and with our prosecutors within what's appropriate for a prosecutor's role. So we hear that message and we agree with it wholeheartedly.
Thank you, Mr. Cedillo. Mr. Price?
Thank you, Madam President. I just want to thank the street vendors who came out to testify very eloquently about their actions, their activities in street vending. We know that there's still a lot of I's to be dotted, T's to be crossed, and coming up with our policy about street vending. But we all were adamant, and there was great unanimity on the desire to decriminalize the activity. And so we appreciate the efforts and cooperation of the city attorney, crafting the language that will make that clear. But as my colleagues have pointed out, I think, language doesn't mean anything if folks don't know, don't understand, don't appreciate, and don't take advantage of it. And so I'm anxious for us to certainly pass this ordinance today, but there should be a real great public information campaign associated with it, so that they're clear, folks are clear what our policy is, what the practice is, and what the rights are going to be. And so again, we appreciate the efforts, appreciate the involvement of the community, and look for your aye vote, colleagues. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Blumenfield.
Well, first, I certainly join my colleagues in appreciating the importance of decriminalizing something in an era of the new Trump administration. We do not want someone to be deported because they're selling a hot dog or something on the street. So we're all in agreement 100% there. I do have a question about, though, what now happens in terms of being able to enforce our rules. In term, whether if there is a vendor that is in a location that's not permitted or allowed, under the ACE program with the option to write a ticket. Could you let me know what we don't want to happen, of course, is we don't want that ticket to become a price of doing business improperly. We want people to have a regulated system and do business in the city. So the question is severalfold, and there's obviously a balance between wanting to decriminalize and making sure that we still have enforcement tools. So I wanted to understand those tools a little better. Is there an ability, if someone is not complying, to issue a second ticket? We recently talked about that with regard to traffic tickets or a third ticket. Or is there a way, if someone is not complying, to escalate that? Similarly, when it was a criminal offense, there was the ability to confiscate.
Excuse me. If you're going to continue to disrupt the meeting by standing up and waving around, Mr. Herman, we're going to ask you to leave. So that's your final warning for today, okay? Thank you very much. There are other people here that are trying to pay attention, and you're disrupting the meeting by doing that. Thank you. I'm sorry, continue.
Thank you. So related to that question is, when it was, previously, if someone is not complying, you do have the ability to confiscate the cart or something to that effect. I don't know if that's still allowed under the ACE program, and I wanted to understand if it wasn't, what are the tools that are out there in the event that someone is not complying, and is there some additional authorities that you need from us, keeping within the idea and the understanding we want this to be, we do not want to create a criminal charge on folks for vending, but is there a way that if someone is not complying and they are in breach of the rules, that sanitation or police could confiscate the cart, as has been a tool of last resort in the past?
Thank you, Councilmember David Michelson with the City Attorney's Office. Sort of two answers to the question. The first answer is, if the City Council adopts this ordinance amending 4200B, street vending, no longer will it be an available tool to impose misdemeanor or infraction. It'll just be an ACE citation. If an ACE citation is written, the first violation is $250 under the ACE ordinance. The second violation is $500. The third violation is $1,000, and for future violations, it's $1,000.
Can those violations happen? Do they have to wait 24 hours, or if someone is on the street and you ask them to move, you come back in an hour, they're still there? Can you issue the second violation, or is it like the traffic where you have to wait?
It's a good question, Council Member. I don't know that answer specifically, so we're going to get back to you and to the council. Whether it's later in the day, whether a second violation can be issued, if they're still out there illegally street vending. Val, do you know?
Convicted of the first one before, so it wouldn't be the same day.
Okay, so it's highly unlikely to be the same day, but we'll take a closer look at that and make sure that you all have that information. In terms of your second question, potential taking or confiscating the street vending cart, that is one of the issues that we will be looking forward to working with the CLA and the CAO and the other city departments in creating the new program, which will provide for a permitting process for street vending. There'll be a host of issues that need to be drilled down in terms of creating that new program. And I know that one of the council directions made at the last meeting on this topic included the direction of the CLA, CAO, with the assistance of the city attorney, public works departments, and others, to come up with that program using the guidelines and sort of guideposts that council included in its action last time. So one of the items that will be considered clearly is, what are the legal tools that could be available in a new permitting program? Could a cart be taken if there's due process, for instance, that's afforded? What other enforcement mechanisms could be provided in the context of a permitting program? So we're looking forward to working with the other city offices and departments to address those issues. But currently, under the ACE ordinance, there likely is not the opportunity to even temporarily take someone's vending cart. It is possible that the county health department, if they're selling food, they don't have their proper permission in place with county health may have a separate law that allows county health to take the cart. I can't necessarily speak directly to that unless, Valerie, you know more about that?
I would just like to add that currently when carts or goods are confiscated, they're confiscated in connection with an arrest. So the property is taken in conjunction with an arrest. Now, under the new ordinance, which decriminalizes vending, there will be no arrest. So there is no opportunity at the current time to confiscate vendors' goods or cart. Again, in connection with the permitting system, we will bring policy options back to the council about what kind of penalty system you would like to see in the new vending ordinance or incentives for people to get permits.
Okay, so and I'll close. I know my time is over, but so I appreciate that answer. So it's important. We are entering a little bit of a limbo period, but as I understand it, we are not. The actions we're taking today do not preclude this type of enforcement mechanism from being applied as we work on it. Even though that has been the enforcement tool we've had in the past, which is the arrest and the confiscation, that's no longer going to be an option for us. But what we're doing today is not precluding another avenue for potential confiscation in these type of situations or other escalating penalties. We just haven't developed that, and that's what Phase 2 is about.
That's correct. And during the interim period, though, that option would not be available. That is correct. The only option is writing the A citation.
Which itself has an escalating fine structure. Right.
And then you're going to get back to the time limits on when it can escalate. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Huizar.
Thank you, Mr. President. And I think the City of LA and this council has come a long way in terms of our view on street vendors. I recall a few years ago when I didn't think we'd be having this conversation, but the environment is correct, whether it's the national environment or here locally, acknowledging the benefits that street vendors bring to us and the acknowledgement that we should bring them out of the shadows to contribute to the economy. The acknowledgement that it's probably more work for us to put into LAPD resources rather than going through this to decriminalizing. I think the cost-benefit analysis, when you look at it, whether you want to decriminalize this activity, the benefits way outweigh the cost to us. So I'm glad we're here today. I'm glad we're moving forward. I think it's a long time coming, and we're going to realize those benefits once we get to our plan. And it's acknowledging today by us taking the step that we have a framework that we're working with. Will come back to us soon. I think there's some urgency to it, where we could have an actual ordinance on what those details look like, and the issues that Mr. Blumenfield raised are very good ones. How do we move from a decriminalized system to one where we're developing those regulations? It's going to be a challenge, and I think those are the right questions to ask that Mr. Blumenfield were asking, and we obviously need to answer those as we develop the final plan. But for now, this is a very good step, and it's an important step. And I think it's a good gesture as well to our street vendors that we're doing this, because they've been with us for years asking the city to move, and we're finally moving on this. My one question is, there's an urgency to this, so this will be signed by the mayor and adopted approximately within 30 days, correct? Is that accurate?
Actually, sooner. There's two ordinances. The first ordinance is before you. It's the amendment of the 4200B, which is the decriminalization of the street vending law. That has an urgency clause in it, and if it's adopted with the necessary minimum number of votes and the mayor signs it, that goes into effect literally within a day after it gets back to the clerk upon publication.
Okay, good. So we didn't know if there was, I was under the impression, it's good, because I was under the impression maybe some few weeks, up to a month for that to happen. In the interim, I wanted to find out what could happen, but if it's with a matter of days, that would alleviate a lot of the fears that we see out there as well. And what
Right.
look like.
You need at least 12 votes today, and it needs to be unanimous.
Okay. And you need at least 12 votes.
We need at least 12 votes today. If it's unanimous, that means it will be adopted with the urgency on the first reading. If it's not unanimous today, it'll require second reading next week. But as long as you get, I think, 12 votes on one of the readings, the urgency provision will have been adopted.
Okay, great. Got that. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Krikorian.
Thank you, Mr. President. I think Mr. Blumenfield covered most of my concerns, but just to put a little finer point on the civil enforcement aspect of this. Although we won't be able to do, we won't be arresting anyone, we won't be seizing their property along with an arrest, would it not be feasible to have a civil lien against personal property, for example, if there's not, if there's a continued refusal to pay the fines, just as we do in other contexts, we could presumably have a lien against their personal property for enforcement of that, right?
That's something we're certainly willing to look at when we're working with the city departments to develop the program.
Okay.
And again, bring back to the council some policy options in terms of enforcement.
And then similarly, could we, is there some vehicle by which the ACE citations could be enforced through a civil order of the court, which, if not complied with, would lead to a civil contempt charge? So that there's still, again, no criminal offense, but some way in which it, I think what we're all after, realizing that with an enforcement system, a regulatory system, the vast majority of people will try to comply with that enforcement system so that they can work, which is what they want to do. But there will be some, especially if this becomes a highly competitive environment, where certain locations, for example, are highly sought after, where you might have people who are flaunting the law. And unless there's some effective enforcement mechanism, we're spinning our wheels and trying to provide any regulatory framework. So would that be feasible, to have a civil contempt mechanism by which we could enforce it?
We will certainly look at that as one of the options, and we will bring every legally viable option on enforcement to the council for your consideration.
Right, and I'll quickly add that in the current version of ACE, I believe there is a lien option as part of the civil remedies, including collections, intercept program with the Franchise State Tax Board. I don't know if it's written in the way that would allow a personal lien on personal property. We'll take a look at that, absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Councilmember Rue for a second time.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had a great discussion, and I just wanted to ask for a recommendation that will report back in 15 days regarding the current and past misdemeanor violations on all the various ideas that you brought up on what we could do to remedy those.
Okay, Mr. Huizar is a second on that. Okay. All right, then that motion is, that'll be amended as a friendly amendment. All right, with that, there are no other speakers on the queue. Colleagues, we'll go ahead now and vote on the item. If we can go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
All right, passes. All right, thank you very much. We've got a request on item 8 to go forthwith, so it'll be 8 forthwith without objection will be the order. Next item, please.
Mr. President, you still have item 15 and item 18 and item 19 before.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take item 15. Okay, on item 15, Mike? Cattersky? Mike? Still here? No longer here? Okay, we'll go ahead and take that item up then. Colleagues, we'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That item is approved. Next item, please.
Items 18 and 19.
Okay, we'll go ahead and take 18 and 19. Those are closed session. Mr. Krikorian, did you wish to just go ahead and vote on those?
Members have questions or concerns. Unless members have questions or concerns, Budget and Finance recommends approval of the City Attorney's recommendations.
Okay, we'll take 18 and 19 together, colleagues, then. We'll go ahead and open the roll, close the roll, and tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those items are approved. Thank you very much. All right, and does that take us for items for posting and referral?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then those will be posted and referred. And colleagues, do we have any announcements? Seeing none, we can please rise for adjourning motions. What? Oh, we still have two general public. I apologize. We still have. We'll have a seat. We still have two general public comment cards that slipped through. I apologize for that. Oscar Mohammed and Jacqueline Richardson, please come on up for 1 minute each. They were buried in the screen, so I apologize for that. Jacqueline Richardson and Oscar Muhammad for 1 minute each. Thank you very much.
Yeah, America used her freedom to cause atrocities of the world, to destroy the world. White Chief Charlie Beck, policemen should not have authority over black people. Black history, Gary Morgan, the black mayor of Cleveland, 1913. It was Cleveland, Ohio, 1913. It was a tunnel collapse, and Gary Morgan, his family went into the tunnel and rescued the injured. And immediately Gary Morgan invented gas masks. Gary Morgan also invented the stoplights. Gary Morgan is in the American Invention Hall of Fame. Black history, Robert Warren Seals, an African-American Muslim, left South Carolina, moved to Chicago, and started the first Seals store. But the politicians and the Jews live on the height. They're not homeless. We should end the homeless on Skid Row. Give them a ticket and a lunch bag and send them back where they come from. No social injustice, end economic dignity. We should end the funds that grant that homeless should receive. The homeless are treated worse than of.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Jacqueline Richardson. Thank you.
Without making any major changes, you already have a success story in the housing project in Watts, the Jordan Downs project. It's successful because it's low income, it houses low income people, it's sturdy. To make it better, and it's in the black, to make it better, it only needs a few items. It needs to have trash pickup more often, 3 to 4 days a week, have the rowdy teenagers subdued, have the neighbors mind their own business, and other little things. It's successful because it's already in the black, and it houses low-income people successfully. A little paint and a little patching and a little more trash pickup will make it even more successful. It doesn't need any major changes. It needs minor changes. It's already successfully housing low-income people.
Thank you very much. Okay, that now concludes general public comment and all the comment cards. Thank you very much. So with that, colleagues, if we can please stand for adjourning motions. Looking to my right, seeing none, and then to my left, seeing none. Colleagues, I do have one, unfortunately. I'd like to, unfortunately, one of our first responders, to adjourn in memory of David Moorman, captain of the Los Angeles Fire Department, Fire Station 96C Platoon in Chatsworth. David was born September 1st, 1966, at Valley Press Hospital in Van Nuys. The loving parents, Mark and Carol. David lived in Northridge for 23 years with his parents, older brother Casey, and his younger sister Nicole. Dave grew up going to the baseball field. He played Van Nuys Reseda Little League and Mid-Valley Pony Colt, where his dad, Mark, was often a coach. He played Pop Warner football for the Northridge Knights, and in 1985 he graduated from Cleveland High School, where his family thanked God and his school counselor, Ray Todd, for getting him through high school. The family spent their summers and vacations in Parker, Arizona at the family river house, boating, water skiing, jet skiing, and just enjoying each other's company. In fact, the Moorman's River House is famous for exceeding the fire department's recommended capacity, where often they would have many gatherings of friends and family. Dave's career with Los Angeles Fire Department began on October 11, 1989. During his 28-year career, he went on numerous deployments, including 1992, the LA riots, the hurricanes, the Katrina hurricane specifically, New York during 9/11, and every FEMA team deployment. He also served on urban search and rescue teams in the California Task Force 1 since 2001. Dave was promoted to apparatus operator in 2002, and during his time with the fire department, he obtained certifications and awards, including the Notice of Accommodation in 2011 for Confined Space Rescue and the Award of Merit Corral Canyon Fire. In 2014, he was promoted to Fire Captain 1, and 2 years later became Fire Captain 2. In 1994, Dave went with Station 60s on a river trip. Little did he know when he asked the cute blonde if she wanted to go on a boat ride, he was talking to then his future wife. In 1996, Dave and Amy married, and their adventure began. Soon thereafter, their beautiful daughter, Elizabeth, was born. 3 years after that, they completed their family with their son, Richard Andrew. And with his family in tow, Dave continued the family river trips, but with a lot less celebrating. Dave's other passion including hiking, cooking, Alaska fishing, camping, and was an avid sports fan. Due to his competitive nature and love of winning, he looked forward every year to the annual bowling competition and playing any sport. He cherished spending time with his family. That was the most important. And above all, he watched and loved to watch being both of his children playing sports and spending quality time with Amy, Elizabeth, and Richard, being with them everywhere. He'll be greatly missed by the department, his family, and all who knew him. His dedication to emergency services in the city of Los Angeles, for that matter for the United States, and service to his community will never be forgotten. He's survived by his wife Amy and their children, Elizabeth and Richard. He was truly a hero amongst us, never wanting to be recognized, but always out there, first in the door, last one out. And his time was cut short. May he rest in peace. Thank you very much. With that concludes this council meeting. We are officially adjourned. Be safe.